Have you ever wondered why English speakers use the word American? But in Portuguese and Spanish, people often prefer terms like estadunidense or estadounidense, or even norteamericano. I'm Jason, and this is Jason's Easy English, a podcast that helps you improve your English and learn about American culture with clear, understandable episodes in natural, everyday language. Today, I'm going to explain why the demonym, or the nationality term, American, is used in all dialects of English, while Portuguese and Spanish speakers usually prefer to say estadunidense or estadounidense. And just to be clear, this is a historical and linguistic story, not a political one. A reminder, if you enjoy this episode, please follow or subscribe to Jason's Easy English. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Language change, the way language changes over time, is never planned. Nobody chooses which word wins. Words simply evolve. And this question about American or Americano shows how English, Portuguese, and Spanish developed in different ways. Originally, in European languages, America or América meant the whole continent. Portuguese and Spanish kept that meaning. But English changed. In the 1700s, British speakers already used Americans for the colonists who would later form the United States. After the Revolution and independence, this use became normal, and it quickly took root. There's our first expression of the day. To take root means it became accepted and stable over time. Crió raízes, se arraigó. English speakers then stuck with that word. Second phrase, to stick with something. They stuck with that word. To stick with something means to continue using something because it works. English simply never created another nationality term, so American remained the only one. I want to emphasize that there is no other nationality term for a United States citizen in English other than American. Portuguese and Spanish took a different linguistic path. They kept América as the continental term. So when they needed a more exact word for someone from the United States, they created estadunidense, or, in Spanish, estadounidense. These forms are logical and precise. But everyday language doesn't always follow textbook rules. In normal conversation, what we call everyday speech, which is the kind of language people use in daily life, a fala do dia a dia, or el habla cotidiana, many Portuguese and Spanish speakers still say ator americano, cantora americana, película americana, and so on. And everyone understands perfectly. When somebody says Brad Pitt es americano or Taylor Swift es americana, nobody imagines they're from anywhere else except the United States. There's zero confusion because of the context. A lot of learners ask me why English doesn't use a more exact term. And this is where the historical and linguistic explanation helps clear things up. There's another expression, to clear things up. Clear things up means to make something easier to understand. So it'd be something like, in Portuguese, esclarecer, to clear things up, or in Spanish, of course, aclarar. English shifted the meaning earlier, and the newer meaning stayed. Portuguese and Spanish kept the older meaning, the continental meaning for América and Americano. Simple as that. So, it isn't about claiming the whole continent or anything remotely political when English speakers say American. It's just language history. And honestly, the bottom line, which means the most important point, o punto principal, lo más importante, is that each language solved the same problem differently, and both solutions work. Bottom line, if you're speaking English, you say American. If you're speaking Portuguese or Spanish and want to be precise, you can say estadounidense or estadounidense. And when the context is obvious, which is almost always, communication works perfectly in all three languages. All right, I hope that explanation was clear and easy to follow. Before I let you go, let's review the main points of today's podcast episode. We learned that English uses American because the word became common before U.S. independence and then took root or became accepted over time, decades and centuries. English speakers stuck with it. They continued to use the term American because it worked. Everyone understood it. Portuguese and Spanish speakers kept the continental meaning of América, so they created estadunidense or estadounidense to refer to citizens of the United States. But in everyday speech, people often use americano or americana with no confusion whatsoever because of context. We also learned some helpful or useful expressions like to take root, which means criar raíces or arraigarse, to become accepted over time. That idea, that term took root. To stick with something, which means to continue using something because it works. They stuck with that particular word. Everyday speech, normal daily language, a fala do dia a dia, or el habla cotidiana, to clear things up, to make something easy to understand, esclarecer or aclarar. And finally, the bottom line, the most important point, o punto principal, or in Spanish, lo más importante. All right, that's today's episode. I hope it helped you understand this historical and linguistic difference in a simple, friendly way. Be sure to follow or subscribe to Jason's Easy English and share it with friends who are learning English too. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you at the next episode.